Will that work?
We're trying it. Good, Joe?
Yeah, I think so.
I'll try not to knock it off. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's good. Good to see you. I'm great. I'm great. Yeah, we're about midway through, so day number 7 today. And yeah, it's been good progress. So we're excited about what's happened, but obviously, just like everybody, had a lot of work to do. So yeah, looking forward to it. Good. So what do you got?
When you say good progress, what does that mean specifically?
Well, you know, one of the things when we look back is and it has to be kind of our everyday nature, and Coach talks about an awful lot, is the details, you know, of what we do and the minor details, and sometimes that goes into different parameters, certainly, but a lot of it for us there's been a lot of emphasis on kind of the individual technique part of it that then we can transfer over to once we put the entire scheme together. So I feel we're making some very, very positive influences in that area. So that's kind of the main focus. Absolutely.
Obviously, there's going to be a lot of focus on the quarterback spot. When it's spring, you've got an experienced guy, but young players you have, you know, high hopes for. How do you kind of, divvy it all up, balance all out in the spring in terms of kind of seeing everybody and just, you know, because you don't want to give it all to the
right. No, absolutely. Yes, we, I think we do a pretty good job of looking at it every day of all, basically the team 11-on-11 reps and the 7-on-7 reps. And I think after even the scrimmage on Saturday, I think they're all within like a rep or two, those top 3 guys between Peyton, Kaitin, and Noah. So, you know, it's one of the things that I'm moving them around sometimes because I need certain guys to get certain plays that they maybe haven't seen. It doesn't matter where that really falls. So, but it's definitely that because we do a lot of different situational things in our practice, and I need to see those guys under those different environments. And so far it's been positive. You know, those guys have been competing well, and it's been a very competitive environment. But yeah, rep count's really been about equal among all those top 3 guys.
Do you take us to kind of the strength of each guy and what you're seeing out of them?
Yeah, I think what I'm seeing a little bit is that you know, Peyton obviously you know, does have some experience from the rep situation, game day experience, but you know, his knowledge of the game is really at a high level. They all actually do a nice job there, but I feel he's at that level of really knowing ins and outs of everything that we're doing from the O-line to that, and so that piece is good. We're working on different things from him from a fundamental techniques deal that he's really been focusing on. But I think his experience, his command, his poise has been very positive. Noah has been a very solid thing. You know, he's one of the things that Noah brings. I do like his run ability. He has shown some good things in the run game, and we've got to clean up a little bit some of the technique and fundamentals we saw coming out of Saturday with him. But it's great because it's fixable for him, and he knows what we got to do there. But his timing, as far as what he's seen, I think is positive. There's a few things that he has to focus on from an identification process that will get fixed. And then, you know, Kaitin, I guess, has been here a little over a year now, and I really felt like he took a big step on Saturday, you know, and some live opportunities, did some really nice things. And you know, you hate to use the adage that it's slowing down, but it is. I mean, it is for him. And now he's kind of through the installs at a more, you know, the second or third time. And so I see Kaitin making some really good progress. He definitely has some very good arm talent, throws it very, very easily. But the rest of his game is starting to follow that suit. And so right now it's a pretty competitive piece, and the guys are all doing some things. But we also know, as we kind of first started with the details of things we're looking at fundamentally, we all got to take some steps because I think that's going to help us be better.
Also, one thing with Kaitin, just where he had improved upon the most from a year ago at this time, do you just think the game is slowing down for him?
I think that's a big piece of it, absolutely. You know, I think he understands a little bit more, and you know, part of it is too, and how you present yourself, and that to the other players. And I think I see a marked change in just how he handles the huddle, how he calls the play at the line of scrimmage. If you look at his, I don't know if I ever want to use the word comfort level in the pocket, but he's more balanced there. He's more under control, and so that just tells me it's all starting to come together.
With this situation, Jay, I mean, the guys you've got, your experience in it, I mean, are you looking to try to have an answer by the end of spring? Do you feel like you can rather let it go into camp, or you just kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, you know, I guess whenever I think that answer will present itself to us, and we have not put any timeline on it at this point at all. So I think it will present itself whenever it does. Would that be end of spring? I have no idea. You know, it's too early to tell because, you know, a lot of times you got to get in more of those other environments that we're trying to create, and we've got 7, 8 more days to do it. So, oh yeah, maybe we'll have a better idea, but I'm uncertain at this point.
How would you describe how much more productive, not even just at the QB spot, but as an offense, are these spring ball practices this year compared to a year ago when you had
It's
4 or 5?
yeah, we are a completely different team. I mean, completely different team than what we were a year ago. You know, if you remember, because of just some certain circumstances with injury and whatnot, I mean, we had like 6 or 7 linemen. Now we have like 19, and some really good players. And at the the defense too is in the same mode. We're a completely different level there with running backs, with receivers, and so you know we feel like we're getting some really good quality work in. And so to me, it's night and day. We're like light years ahead of where we were last year, just because of kind of the way things are set up, and we got our guys here, and man, the guys are working hard and improving.
You got a bunch of running backs. You brought in Mangum and Carter and Berger back, Simmons and Prem. How have you kind of divvied up those reps? How's that competition going, particularly right now?
Right. Yeah, it's again, I don't know the exact rep count on them, but I know Coach Reed takes close attention to that. I think, you know, we again, you need to see them do different types of runs and see how they handle those types of runs and what their vision is like and those things. You know, obviously the steady horses with Jordan and Davion have been here a little bit longer, but you know, I've been very pleased so far with some of the newcomers. With obviously Nate Carter has done some very positive things. He's still transitioning, I think, a little bit with new scheme and things of that nature, so that sneaks up on him occasionally. But as far as his skill set and what he does with the ball in his hand, he's also showed some very positive things in the pass pro protection things. So he's done some very good things. And then I'm very pleased with Mangum. Jaron Mangum has done some good stuff. You know, he's a bigger-bodied kid, you know, and he's done some nice things. And so it's going to be a good race. It's going to be a good race with all those guys, and we'll kind of see how that continues to fold out.
With that, what's the balance? You guys have obviously the last few years brought in experienced running backs versus
Right.
freshmen. What's kind of the balancing act with that, and what are the benefits of having guys who compete at that level?
Yeah, I think the benefit is I guess kind of as you alluded to, they've been there. You know, they've done it. They kind of know what to expect, and you know, obviously different programs probably do things differently, certainly, but I think they can transition through that or work through that transitional period a little quicker, having maybe done it before and have that experience.
You mentioned the night and day difference from last year to this year, and I think that sometimes we think of spring, well, you know, it's fine, the season is 3 months away, but in retrospect, you look back and some of the issues last season, could that be directly related to stuff that you weren't able to get done in spring?
You know, I don't know if it's fair to say that. I mean, it could be, but, you know, I just think the availability to get more reps in, to get guys doing more things that we were able to do, you know, will hopefully lend itself to, I don't know if that was how affected things in the fall. You know, I don't know if I can compare those or bring those two together, but yeah, we're just in a much better space, much better space.
Obviously, the quarterback competition is going to get a lot of attention, but talking about the running backs, how much do you think the inability to consistently move the ball on the ground affected Peyton last year and just the offense overall? And, you know, he mentioned it a couple weeks ago, he looked back and he thought he tried to do too much at times.
Yeah, I think anytime, you know, when you're doing things effectively, it generally helps the other part of it. You know, whatever the other part of that is. I mean, that could be a lot of things. And so definitely when you run the ball effectively, it can do a lot of things. It can do a lot of things for the receiver core, for the old lineman. I mean, it just changes a lot of different perspectives. And so, yeah, you know, I mean, I'm sure that's part of it, you know, but there's also, I agree, he did do too many things at times. And he and I have talked extensively about that. And that's why, you know, we come down again to the details of your craft and honing in on it. So, yeah, you know, that's a big piece of what we do, but, you know, we're in a good place.
His own runability, because that's obviously something that
Yeah.
was missing, you know, maybe from, you know, 2 years ago to last
Correct.
year.
Yeah, I mean, that's been good. You know, that has been good. He's been, you know, although all 3 of those guys have had opportunities to do some of that so far in our first 7 days of camp as far as running the football. And so that's a good piece. I think they all have the ability to do it, and they've shown some good progress there.
Kaitin, I'm wondering what you were able to glean from him last year, just because I was just out there, we saw Noah in there a little bit, and he was obviously number 2, but what was Kaitin able to do behind the scenes to sort of put him in position to where he is competing now?
Well, I think to his credit, what you always look at is, and you know, you always have this discussion each year, but how do you approach the year, you know, when the way, where it was, and with Peyton and Noah, and then, you know, I did see a huge jump in Kaitin even through the fall. Once we got through fall camp about week 3 or 4, things really started to progress positively, and I really think it's because of his approach. You know, sometimes it's hard when you're in that position. How are you going to approach things? But he approached it the right way from really a knowledge standpoint, and to continue to work on his craft, and then he did that, then that is lending himself, in my opinion, to be a little bit further ahead, because if you take a different approach, then you're still trying to catch up, so to speak. And so, to his credit, I just think he had a tremendous approach to what he did and the situation he was put into, and it's paying dividends for him now.
He spent more time with you guys than the scout team, probably, right?
Yeah, he was with us almost all the time. Yes, he was. So, and he was very involved, very active in there. But yes, he was.
And from your perspective, too, for a guy like Peyton, who's been a starter for a couple of years, and now to be in this position where, hey, younger guys are pushing. I know they relish the competition, but how are you seeing him kind of, I don't know, embrace that and just that difficulty of a guy who's been around knowing, hey, I gotta step it up a little, or
Right.
You know,
No, that's a valid point. I've been very pleased with Peyton. I mean, he's the most passionate, competitive guy we probably have on the team. But he hasn't changed, and he's been there. And though we're in that mix, it's still been an unbelievable competitive battle. And he's helping those guys out. He's helping the other players out, and I think he's seeing the dividends of how that's helping him and continuing to raise his stock. So right now he's been great. He's had great competitive spirit, and it's been good.
Obviously, James a big loss. We saw Keenan take a step last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess what are your expectations and outlook for him this fall, what he did last year?
Very excited. Yeah, very excited. He's off to a tremendous start, you know, this spring. He's had a great first 7 days, and yeah, I expect huge things from Keon, and I think he expects it, and I think our team expects it, and I think he's okay with that expectation. So very excited about him.
You think that having him not playing basketball and joining you guys and having a full off season?
Yeah, well, I think so, certainly because of, you know, the focus is a little bit different, and then also just, you know, again, what our Coach Novak and the strength and conditioning guys do, you know, do such a tremendous job, and I think for him being thrust into that full time was definitely paying dividends for him in his preparation.
How much does that help when you tight end spot as well?
Big, huge. Same theory, because he's been doing some very positive things for us.
What about that tight end group as a whole? He was hunting Barker, has a lot of snaps.
Yeah.
We did see Malik a little bit. Those other guys that you expected to come up and fill those.
Yeah, you know, we obviously I think Malik has done well at the tight end spot. You know, we've got a couple new guys with Tyneil Hopper and Jalen Franklin, some transfers, some, again, as we mentioned earlier, some experienced guys that we think can bring some things to the room. And then, you know, some of those young guys have been doing some positive things that none of us would have seen last year. You know, the Jack Nickel, for example, Michael Masunas, Hampton Fay, who's there. So, you know, I think it's a good group. And one guy I haven't mentioned yet, but that has really done well is Evan Morris. Evan Morris has been around and really competing his tail off, and has been really, you know, bringing up what a fierce competitor, and doing some really good things for us. So to me right now, it's kind of a group effort, and we're kind of, again, just like I guess all the spots, trying to put those guys in positions to see, you know, what is their best suit, where do they fit, how do they fit, and how can they help us the best.
For some of the guys on the offensive line, some of the younger guys like Dallas, for instance, we're trying to maybe find a little bit of a role come the fall. How important right now is the spring ball period, and what do you like to see them do as they kind of try to emerge and carve out a role for themselves?
Right. Yeah, I think it's extremely important. You mentioned Dallas. Another one that I bring up is Kevin Wigington, who's been around, Ethan Boyd, Brandon Baldwin, all those guys that are kind of now been here. I don't know, my math isn't very good, a couple years. I think they're going on 3. But, yes, it's huge because, you know, if you look back to 21, we were playing like 10 linemen for like the first 10 games, and they were all getting a bunch of snaps. If we can put ourselves in that position again, that will be big. So that's where I look for those guys. And again, Finch has been getting, I see Kevin Wigington improving, Brandon Baldwin, Ethan Boyd have done some good things. And then obviously we had an influx of Keyshawn. Keyshawn is here, and you know, Blackstock, and doing some great things. And so, yeah, that group with, then you look at the next group behind them is the Ashton Lepos, the Braden Millers, you know, all those guys. So, yeah, I think we're in a good spot there with Coach Cap and his room, and those guys are getting a lot of great opportunities. And so I think our depth is going to be at a completely new level once we enter the fall.
A couple more.
Great.
Talk about moving Christian Banks, the quarterback, and what he brings in. Is there a benefit to having a left-handed quarterback to give something to the defensive simulator?
Yeah, possibly. You know, Christian was more of what his, when he first joined it, it was more of a team-based need for that perspective, and how he kind of joined us because of the numbers, basically, when you look at where we're at in like training camp. But his, you know, his heart and soul was more at the quarterback spot, and so he wanted to try to do that. So we said we'd entertain that in the spring. And yeah, I think sometimes, you know, if you get a lefty and that type of deal, it can give those guys a little bit different look. But yeah, so that's why that move occurred.
Some other receivers besides Keon, I'm wondering who's sort of trying. I imagine a lot of guys are hungry to get in there and get involved. The last couple of years, JB and Keon and Naylor even sucked up a lot of the targets.
Right.
So who are some of those next wave of guys that are really trying to get in there and get involved?
Yeah, well, I think if you kind of go with the older guys down below, but one guy that I've been very pleased with so far this spring is Christian Fitzpatrick. He's had a good spring. He's a little bit of a different player. He was banged up last year. He's well now. That's one. And then the other one that we're slowly bringing along off of his injury is Montori Foster. You know, he's coming good. He's just right on target. He's really pretty much doing everything, but we gradually eased him in at the start of ball. So I see those guys. Obviously, we know about Trey and Keon. And then I'm extremely excited about those three younger guys. Antonio Gates, Tyrell Henry, Ron Glover. Those guys have shown some great flashes. And now I think their game is at a different level just because of the maturity and being around the program now as we go further along. And so I'm hoping that we can see continued improvements there, and that those guys can give us some depth and give us some big play opportunity.
Will you guys do another scrimmage before the last day, whatever that is, you think?
Yeah, I think that will probably be the plan. You know, obviously we kind of take that day by day just as far as the state of the team and where we're at injury-wise. But I think right now that's the kind of plan. But then, like I said, we kind of adjust accordingly every day. Awesome.
Anything else?
Great. Thank you, guys. Great. Good to see everybody.
Yeah, do too.
All right, Chris. No, you didn't do it first and walk out.